overall, I kind of dig it, but it could be.
Son, what are you watching there?
Well, Dad, it's Larry Arts Productions, home to many types of content, including stop motions, reviews, unboxings, and other types of videos.
I knew getting the internet for my kid was a mistake.
let the thunder settle, because it's time for us to get ready. It is for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, proud to give you the coverage of that of the incredible Sim Racing Championship, the Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, first season 4. The ISRC had an incredible season 3, and we got to see a lot of drama, action build up. But just like that, a month break is gone, and it's time for us to take you on a trip for another season here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. Zach, the season is done, and it's time for a brand new one. And we got quite a few new names. We got our new ticker board up there. It is a fun season that we're getting ready for.
Oh man, it's just beginning here tonight. It's crazy to think we just came off a wonderful season, where Danny Cochran was able to bring home that championship trophy, and now all back here once again at the ISRC Truck Series, ready to kick it off at Daytona. And they always seem to have a wild start to their season, and always a lot of wild interactions going on between the drivers in and out of the races. So I think the time off has been good for the drivers to get themselves back ready for tonight and see how they can start off this season, because we know how competitive it can be here in this truck series, and it's going to be a key valuable thing here to start off well tonight if you want to have a good shot, at making the rest of your regular season work out well.
Yeah, the best way to start off is to finish up front here tonight. Start the season off on a good foot. And for one driver, tonight could be the marking of locking themselves into the playoffs. So you want to run as well as you can. Practice is over. Qualifying is about to get underway. They got themselves 5 minutes, 2 laps each for each driver to go out there on track. Put down your fastest lap possible. And whoever's got the fastest lap going to get that pole position. And Zach, we got that looks to be 36 drivers making it to qualifying. Could be seeing a couple of more drivers trickling in, as a total of 41 drivers have put in money to sign up for this league. Not all of them will show up for this first race, but it's crazy to think 41 drivers hoping to start out this season. 36 are going to make qualifying at least, and 15 drivers come in as rookies. This is going to be a brand new batch of drivers that we have to get used to. And for drivers, they get to see as well how to get used to the new blood out there on track.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of new names for us. Like you said, 15 new rookie drivers. Some drivers have been in previous leagues that we have covered. So we do have a little bit of a background on them. And, you know their tendencies. But I tell you what, when you put them into this group, everything can change up. So, and then also the new names that come in, we're going to have to learn how those drivers drive, how they interact with each other out there. But it's going to be a fantastic night. I'm telling you, if you're tuning in right now, you've got a exceptional race here on hand for yourself, because it's going to be a lot of action, a lot of drivers trying to make things happen. And really the biggest thing I think for them here is trying to survive this first stage. At the ISRC Truck Series, they do have one stage, and right now they're starting this qualifying here to help set them up for that stage and those stage points that are given at lap 35. So I'm interested to see, how this all works out for certain drivers out there, because, it can get tough sometimes. We dealt with it last Thursday at the Stars and Stripes League. They had a lot of talk about track position. I don't think that's going to be as big a factor here in the trucks. I think they're going to be able to move around a little bit more, maybe make even that third lane work very, very well. But I do think that track position here at Daytona can be a valuable thing. So starting off qualifying well will be super important.
As drivers are already putting their first times in white right now, we're watching newcomer Zachary Peterson in the 96. He started off with his first lap being extremely high, now ducking low to stay to that yellow line, trying to figure out how to build up momentum. That's what the first key is, that for that first lap. And now the key is to hold that momentum and hold off the speed. And Zach, this 96 is certainly trying his best right now, though. I guess he's doing a little bit of bobbling. That 1 and 2 really didn't look as strong as I think some drivers would hope to see. Wasn't as snug to that yellow line on the entry of the corner.
Yeah, that is one of the difficult things here at Daytona. When you're qualifying, people just think, oh, you're just turning the wheel left, holding the gas down wide open. No, there's actually a lot of nuance to it. Yes, you are holding the gas down wide open. You're not lifting. If you do any of that, your lap's going to be ruined. But what does happen is it's all about the steering wheel. You have to be very, very smooth. Any erratic movement of that steering wheel is going to scrub off the speed and take that critical mile per hour away from your lap time that, it's not going to equate to a good qualifying lap here. And when you go down that track and you're, back and forth, left and right, kind of, that's where the speed starts to drift away from the truck. So you got to be able to keep it very, very straight. Stay out of that apron because it'll bounce you up off that bottom of the racing surface and up higher on the racetrack, which makes it a longer distance also. So those things kind of go to take away time from you, but we'll see right now is our season 3 champion Danny Cocker right now still sits atop the board. Ethan Smith there in the 00. He's came in second at the moment. Cedric Hunter third. Mark Whitley fourth, and Ali Fonseca rounding out the top 5 with some veterans.
And on screen, you're seeing that of the Fletcher Forestry's number 19 machine at Tyler Dangler. He's on his second lap, and for the top 2 drivers on the board, it was their second lap that actually was the fastest. And here comes the 19 through 3 and 4, trying to stay snug. He was 20th after that first lap. The second lap, hitting the tri-oval now, is going to be the 19, and across the line. How much faster will he be? And it doesn't look like it's going to be fast enough for a pole time. And it's just going to be barely enough for him to bounce. Looks to be not many more speed. Actually was a slower time on that second lap, which Tyler's always interesting to look at some of these drivers and the way they have to attack this course. As right now, we're seeing Mark Morales Jr. ripping the top, trying to build up the momentum for this first lap.
Yeah, this is critical here. You got to be able to rip that top there, the longer distance around the racetrack, which allows these restricted engines where they have a restrictor plate on, they are getting suffocated. They're not getting as much oxygen to that engine to build the horsepower that these trucks normally would. So with that restrictor plate on there, these trucks are kind of cut off and limited when it comes to the power. So you need to be as smooth as possible, like I said before, but also take the shortest distance around. So that's why people are building up that speed, but it looks like, unfortunately for Mark Morales, it ends up that lap not getting in.
Was not aware of the time because he ran out before he could finish that first lap, but the stage is now set. It is time for us to take a look at how the first race of the season for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series is going to start for Season 4. The champion of last season, winner of Phoenix, is going to take that pole award. It's Danny Cochran switching up his number, no longer the 31, back to the Classic 2 with that of Ethan Smith, and the 00 going to be in second place. Cedric Hunter got the second place finisher of the championship last season. He'll start in third. Mark Whitley finished third in the championship last season, going to be in fourth. Volume Fonseca in fifth. Sixth goes the newcomer, that of Steven, that of Baldwin. Going to be also seeing that of Dakota Moniz in 7th, Eric Stamp 8th, GT Rosari 9th, and that of Jonathan Smith in 10th place.
In the 11th position, it's going to be the 38 of Christopher Norris. New rookie here in the 4 machine. Jordan Schmeetz is going to start in that 12th position. 13th is going to be another rookie of Zachary Peterson. 14th is going to be a Season 2 champion, Trenton Jump. 15th is going to be another rookie of Ryan Crowfoot. Another rookie will follow him in the 16th position of Michael Sheffield, with 17th being Nick Crawford in that 74 machine, new number for him. 18th is going to be Joshua Kanata, who's also another rookie along with him. And 19th is going to be Barrick Uphold. And then rounding out that top 20 is Tyler Dingler.
21st is going to be that of John Forbes, as well as Logan Brakey in 22nd. 23rd is going to be John McAdams, who's back after taking a little bit of a break in the middle of last season. Newcomer going to be in the 43 machine. And 24th, that's Kyle Tate, with Noah Steele joining a brand new team. He's going to be joining up with that of Logan Brakey and as well Trenton Jump, as he'll be part of the Amardilla's team in 25th position. Martin Morales Jr. with his slow time will be back in 26th position. 27th will be Cody Reed with Joshua Altus, newcomer, in 28th position. Malik Hunt is going to be in that of 29th, as well as Justin Smith going to be in 30th. He was formerly known as Gregory Smith, switching it up the names, and we'll see how well he can do for this season.
And in the 31st position, you're going to have the 39, Joshua Freed. Matthew Gilliams is going to start in the 32nd position. 33rd is going to go to Jesse Thornock. 34th, Robert Sherwood. 35th is going to be Tyler Horn. And rounding out our 36 truck field here is Matt Upwood.
As the driver is now leaving pit road, only one driver deciding to start in pit road. You see him there in his box. That's the 19 of Tyler Dangler. In fact, very odd situation to see the 19 in, as that could be a tough toll for himself because he can go a lap down very quickly here if he finds himself in any type of trouble. As a driver that's going to be starting off up front, looking to be very quick, excited to see how he's going to run where he's at. It's going to be Cedric Hunter in 3rd place. We're going to pull the 13 up at the booth, get some thoughts from that of the 13 machine. Cedric and Sam and Zach up at the booth. How are you feeling? Qualified 3rd. How is it up there with that Hello Kitty machine?
Feeling pretty good. Thought we could have maybe got the pole. Unfortunately, we got beat by Danny and Ethan, but feeling pretty good to start off the season. Pushing these trucks is really sketchy on the sketchier side, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we don't end up on a tow truck early, but you know, we'll see if we can start off the season on the right foot and get ourselves a win tonight.
Well, we're about to get green, so we'll send you back to your team, but good luck out there, Cedric, as we are getting ourselves set up and ready to get racing. 13 looks excited, and Zach, honestly, all these drivers, that has been the talking point. They're excited but nervous, unknown of how this race could go. Some feel like it could be a wreck fest. Others saying that this race could be clean sailing if they can keep to their P's and Q's. We got a stage break at lap 30. Well, let's see if they can make it to lap 35, as it is time for us to go green for Make Diecast action again. With that 250 presented by Race Car Graveyard, as the drivers roar down into turn number 1.
Just like that, the start is great from the outside line. The 00 there of Ethan Smith with the help of Mark Whitley up top is able to pull nose ahead, but as they go down into turn 1 in through the middle of 1 and 2 now, Danny Cochran with the help of Cedric Hunter is able to pull ahead there using that shortest way around the track.
And they are really trying to make that shorter lane work for the best of their abilities. But Mark Whitley, the push by the 77 to the 00 on the outside lane, is making it work for now. They're going to stall out, but watch out for the third driver in line. There is a big momentum push by that of being the 4 and the 72. There is a lot of speed to be seen as drivers trying to rip the top. But I got to say, Zach, what I'm most excited for, the 77 of Mark Whitley. He wasn't able to finish this race last season. He did start in park to start the first three races. How will he run? It's across the line. It's the 00 of Ethan Smith leading that first lap.
Great start there from these guys already to open this race, and it's
Yellow
caution's
flag.
out.
Caution flag's gonna fly, and it's drivers on the exit of turn 4. It looks like major issues. Joshua Freed is smoking. And it looked to be drivers that are racing for last place, having some major issues. And it was the 12 that found himself way off the pace. Tried to make a move of just trying to slow down, which is a traditional thing to do, Zach, on the backstretch of getting out of the way, but never found the spacing to get back up on track and wrecking drivers that were in last.
Yeah, that's a tough break there for Freed, because you can see here from this replay that Ryan Crowfoot here, like you said, he dropped down to the apron on the back straightaway trying to let the field by, but he hit that apron there as he was getting back up on the racetrack, got into Freed there, and that really hurt that truck. So unfortunate, there is kind of a unforced error back here in the back of this pack, that you're just trying to get back there, but you just simply make a simple mistake like that really could ruin both his and Freed's night. And remember, here at the ISRC Truck Series, there is no fast repairs, so you do not get a second chance from this. Damage here can be very hurtful when you're especially farther in the pack, where you can lose that draft very quickly.
And poor Joshua Freed. He was hoping tonight was going to be a special night for that 39 machine, changing up his truck number, and it was a super speedway that he had his best finish, which was that of 6th season ago, but it will not strike for good luck here tonight. He is going to start off being our first DNF of the evening. Crowfoot, though, going to be in pit road, still trying to get repairs done, is the 12 caught up in that wreck. Another driver that came into pit road was Kyle Tate, who got himself some topped off on fuel. But, man, first caution of the day strikes in the early portion of this race. And cautions are not a new thing here at Daytona. They've had quite a few, averaging around that to 6 to 7 cautions every time they've came here to Daytona. So maybe just getting the first caution out of the way, and they'll settle in later on. But, man, Zach, already, first caution, I mean, not a place I think any of us were expecting to see our first yellow come from.
No, definitely not expecting that. When that yellow flag popped up, I was saying, oh no, where did that actually happen? I didn't get to see all the way that far back to the pack, so I figured maybe something bigger had happened. Then I noticed it was only 2 trucks. I was kind of surprised to see that. So yeah, it's, not too surprising, because like you said, it's Daytona. I mean, really at any corner there lurks danger, and it's just simple mistakes like that can really bring out a quick yellow here to bring this race to a halt. But the big thing that this yellow flag does here, more than anything, is it opens the door here for these guys to easily make it to this stage break. Doing a little bit of research and some math here tonight, these guys were looking at about 34.5 laps on a tank of fuel. So they're about a half a lap short, but you also got to equate, the caution comes out at the completion of 35, so you have to come back around to get to pit road, that 2.5 miles to get there. So, normally you'd need at least another lap to get back. So these guys were going to be on the edge of that. There was going to be, I think, some split decisions of, do we pit here and try to, not run out of fuel here at the end of the stage break, or do we try to save enough for that? I think with this caution now, they should be much more in the clear, and especially the people who've come down the pit road now and topped off after multiple drivers, really from about the 22nd position on back hitting pit road.
Yeah, and a couple of drivers that came into pit road only drove through. That's teammates of Joshua Altus and that of Robert Sherwood, just coming through and just taking all the positions they can. I think they were expecting to top off on fuel, kind of recognize, all right, with this caution, we actually can make it, so no pressure of getting into their stall. But up front, Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, Mark Whitley, Cedric Hunter, strong drivers to watch out for up front as we are in lap 5 here tonight. Thank you for joining us here on Monday night coverage of the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Again, my name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. We also have that of Robert Murray Jr. running productions here this evening as drivers are stacking up, getting ready to get rolling. Well, Zach, they got their first caution out of the way. They can at least say they dipped their toe in that. What are you expecting to see for these drivers on this next restart as we're getting ready to ramp it back up?
These early cautions like this, especially when it's like a small caution like it was at the very back of the pack, they can have major mental effects on these drivers. And what I mean by that is, you've just had all these drivers running wide open in a pack, probably just getting settled into the race. Then you have a yellow flag to kind of bring it all to a halt very quickly and abruptly. And that's where drivers can kind of wander into picking up the aggression level. So I think you might see that pick up, especially with these guys not having to save fuel and think about that game plan here for this run. Now that kind of opens the door for them to go full bore. This could get a little interesting because, even Cedric Hunter brought it up in his pre warm-up lap interview. It is very sketchy when it comes to pushing these trucks. At previous times, it was very, very easy to lock bumpers and just push straight ahead. But I'm telling you, from the practice I did with a few of these guys, it can get very dangerous quickly if you're not right on center there with that truck, because you'll easily wreck somebody.
Easily could be finding yourself in trouble. Hoping that we can find ourselves with a little bit of more clean racing as the drivers wait for this pace car to make the hard left-hander to get onto pit road. And up front, Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, they're hoping to try to have a good launch for themselves. Well, they're going to switch their dance partners behind them. Mark Whitley down low, Cedric Hunter on the outside, and we're green once again here at Daytona. And neither lane really got a strong launch, and it's going to be Ethan Smith trapped and lingered and stuck on the outside lane.
Yeah, he tried to get down in front of that 13 as the 13 made the move to get down to the bottom lane. Now I think Ethan Smith will be able to get down into the 4th position, luckily for himself, and that's good news for him as he gets down in front of Ali Fonseca. So tough break there to start it off, but it really helped them that hole was open up. But right now, single file for really the first 15 trucks.
And here comes the drivers on the outside, though. There are some strong drivers that have some momentum to watch out for, and it's an alliance that was made before this race. The 11 of John Forbes working with Larson Line's owner, that of Dakota Moniz, and Larson Line and Blackjack Racing both saying, let's work together. And now diving up top, a little bit of shuffling happening. Mark Whitley trying to go for the lead, and that driver's on the outside lane, further on back, trying to build momentum as we hop on board with the 11 of John Forbes. You see that as Zachary Peterson trying to make the push, and this outside lane is rolling now.
Yeah, this outside lane can be very, very powerful. You can carry a lot of momentum on that higher line. And right now, John Forbes says, you know what, I've got a place down low. I'm going to stick my truck here. As that line was going forward, led by Jonathan Smith there. And now Mark Whitley out in front of him, too, getting the two teammates hooked up together. They want to try to go to the lead, but look at the wiggling down the back straightaway. That looks very, very dangerous.
A little bit of a bad bump could make everything go awry, but certainly they're staying strong for now. One thing, though, that we're starting to see, a lot of side drafting. Mark Whitley in the 77, getting extremely close there. Cedric Hunter in the 13 through the center of the corner. How nice will these drivers play with one another as we're seeing a lot of the drivers staying single-filed up. I think recognizing, all right, we got our first yellow. Let's just take it calm. And drivers are saying, I want to race, be up front. They're on the attack.
That outside lane definitely looking to attack, but we drop farther back here. It's the 6th of Justin Smith. Remember, he was Gregory Smith, like you brought up earlier, Sam, and Yeah, he's looking to make that name change into a new season here and carry some of that momentum forward, as now he's pulling up to the back bumper of the 74 Nick Crawford, who drops down low, but the 4 machine there dropping straight backwards as he's going to be looking to get out of this field.
And that 4 machine on screen is actually the 5th. It's actually going to be the 18 of Steven Baldwin. So a little bit of a mix-up on their numbers being placed, but they are still looking strong, being out of the way. I think recognizing, okay, up front might be getting a little bit dangerous. Wants to get out of there, and now a lot of drivers deeper in the field trying to make their push forward, and one of them is Eric Stamp, the 53, working with that of Tyler Dangler in that outside lane, trying to make the push forward. And for the 53, the driver that found himself in victory lane here a season ago, trying to make the miracle happen again. He's working with the driver that decided to start on pit road. Tyler Dangler from 36th all the way up to 19th and climbing at this moment.
Yeah, you can just see everybody right now in that bottom lane. I think they're very reserved, and they're just checking up for the truck in front of them instead of giving them that giant push. And that's allowing these two here just to really hook up and go right around the outside. They have nothing to slow them down. It's just pretty much free air ahead. Oh, that's not good there to see that little bit of blinking there from that 19 machine of Tyler Dingler. But starting from pit road, I think he'd be surprised to be in this position now, as he took a big risk by doing that, but he made the right call with that early caution.
Curious if we're going to see the Armadillo's teammate pop up, that of Noah Steele, who was staying on the inside lane as the 53 continues the push forward with Tyler Dangler and getting a good look at all the schemes on the inside. So many different looks for drivers. We saw a lot of different shifts of drivers changing up their numbers and changing up their teammates, and also plenty of rookies out there. Here's one of them, the 1 machine, Michael Sheffield, going to be riding in 21st position. I'm just watching everyone making their big molds and moves as the 1 machine gets a good picture of Season 2 champion Trent Jump just sitting in the low line.
Yeah, a lot of guys doing that. It looks like GT Rosario, the teammate of Michael Sheffield, he's going to jump out to the outside line here and try to make a move forward. We'll see if Sheffield decides to finally go with him. And yes, he does. He drops up high, leaving Trenton jump out, and now GT slots back down low. So hopefully Sheffield can get back in line, but I think GT just trying to leapfrog with that draft as such, as you're seeing some more action start to form up front. It looks like Danny Cochran, he's got left out the drive, the very top 3 wide.
3 wide as the 2 machine trying to find his slot, and will do so. Falls behind that of the 6 machine, Justin Smith, as it's going to be a little bit of a shimmy, and I think could be a decision move, as now seeing a lot of drivers in line on the inside of Ally runners, as it's 3 Larson line drivers working with that of 2 from Blackjack Racing. That inside lane looks strong and leading a different driver. That's Cedric Hunter leading that inside lane. Mark Whitley leading the outside lane. But I got to say, everyone behind Cedric Hunter in the 13, that is a complete alliance train that you might want to start to break up at some point.
Yeah, alliances can be a very much of a nuisance if you don't have your friends up there with you. So you got to try to formulate those, and a few guys have already done that, like you said there, Sam. And that's the thing about Daytona. I always bring it up every single time we're at a super speedway. You can't make things happen by yourself. Yes, you can make strong moves, put yourself in the position to make the right move, but you always need help. You're not going to go buy these trucks all by yourself. You have to make things happen with somebody on that back bumper. So right now, we've had a good bit of racing 2 wide, but I'm interested to see when, will they pick it up? When will we see someone try to send it to the middle or send it to the outside of that second lane and make that third lane work? As Cochran was up there by himself. Luckily, he got back down low there in the 2 machine now behind Ali Fonseca, and that 24 is teammate. And that'll be helpful for him, but definitely don't want to get shuffled up there all by yourself like it was before.
No, you really don't. And the 2 drivers that have dominated the outside lane, leading that group, Mark Whitley and that of Jonathan Smith. Well, the reason why those 2 names sound familiar, they were the 2 that dominated Talladega, the last super speedway that we ran here at the ISRC all the way back about a couple of months ago. It was a 1-2 finish for both of those drivers, and right now, right where they left off at Super Speedway Racing, leading 1-2 here at Daytona.
Yeah, and a very interesting decision by them too. They really like the outside line, and we've seen that here with the last few updates of the Super Speedway packages here with our oval cars. that these outside lines have become very, very good. They, at some points it used to be very bottom dominant. Now I'd say it's pretty even between both, but I would say even that middle lane has been the preferred groove this way early in this race with Jonathan Smith and Mark Whitley working together right there. They completely cleared that inside line, could have dropped down low. They decide better of it. They stay up high, and that brings the inside line back to them, but it looks like that's the place they want to be here for later in this run.
This 5 machine could have been talking about Talladega. Got to see that Mark Whitley win at the last Talladega. The driver that won the first Talladega race back in season 1. That was Daytona Moniz, the second driver in the line that we're looking back at. Right on board 13, Cedric Hunter. Dakota has been having some terrible luck. He's kind of been coined the bad luck machine, as everyone just knows it and has seen this 5 struggle at either finding themselves in bad positions or just spinning out himself. And tonight, he is looking good up front as Cedric Hunter says, I'm dipping out of here, and he drops that 3rd lane, and he's searching for some teammates that are back mired in 13th and 15th of that of Christopher Norris and Nate Crawford.
Yeah, I think he got that lap led there, a few of them, and he said, you know what? Go ahead, guys, take it over. I'm going to drop back here. Try to get some teammates with him because he's noticing there's teammates forming around him, and you don't want to be that odd man out, so he drops back there in that 13 machine. But I think one thing that personally I don't bring up enough here when we're at these plate tracks is you see how tucked up underneath the bumper each of these guys are on these trucks. But one thing as a driver, not only have to manage the push that you give the driver ahead of you, but you also got to manage your gauges on your dashboard, because quickly your water temp and oil temp will start to skyrocket as the air is getting suffocated to the nose of that truck when you're up behind someone pushing them, and it can quickly lead to some big problems. You definitely don't want to have those problems because again, no fast repair. And if you blow a motor in the middle of this pack, that could really spell disaster for the rest of the drivers behind you.
Yeah, and I think the one driver I'm most concerned about has to be the 00 Ethan Smith here in the early going. He's been tucked up behind the 5 machine of Dakota Moniz's bumper for a while here. But Zach, as we're looking and we're riding on board with the 00 currently right now, what gauges are we looking for as we're riding on board with that 00 machine?
Yeah, we have plenty of them there. Of course, we have the giant tack in the center there. And each manufacturer does have a little bit of different gauge alignment, so it does depend on what you're in. And as Ethan Smith is in this Ford F-150 truck, it is in a different placement. But normally your oil and your water temp are located to the left side of that tack there. And what will happen is that temperature starts to rise. They will actually flash red at you if they start to enter the danger zone. So it is a good warning, when you get that flashing light to say, hey, you need to quickly find air to the nose and get it in that radiator, or your truck is going to have major issues, and it's going to be leaving some smoke out in that trail behind you when it expires. So, yeah, I think right now the drivers are definitely trying to manage that the best they can, and it changes from setup to setup. It really depends on how much tape you have on the nose of these trucks, and that depends on the setup itself. So the more tape you have, the less time you can push on that bumper and the less drag and more speed you'll have. But the more tape you have on that nose, the less tape you have on the nose, the more time you can push as long as you can. So it definitely is an interesting factor, especially here with fixed racing where you can't change that tape.
As on screen, riding on board with the 16 machine, and you gotta say, it's been nice to see some of the newcomers that joined into this league. There was, talking to some of the admins and getting their thoughts coming into this season, and a lot of them said, it's been a lot of word of mouth on how this league has grown during this offseason. There wasn't a lot of recruitment racing going on. A lot of people saying, hey, come race in this league. I know I had a lot of people also in my ear asking, hey, is there any more space to join this league? The ISRC Truck Series has really grown, and it's been a pleasure for us here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting to be here since the start of Season 1, to be able to cover this whole entire journey for this league and to see how they have grown to this point where people want to join as hard as they want, knowing that this is one of the best Monday Night Truck Series to be a part of.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a pleasure not only to, watch it each and every Monday, but also call the races with you, Sam, and have Robert up here producing this, because I really feel like this is some of the top tier racing out there when it comes to the competition level. These guys are so close. I mean, if you haven't out there even watched yet the long run, make sure you go check that out. That was following the playoffs of last season here at this Truck Series. I can tell you, Sam did a wonderful job with that, and you won't be. I mean, you'll pretty much go watch that, and you'll get to see like the characters and the personalities of each of the drivers, what they're thinking, how they're formulating this stuff, and what they do throughout the week to prepare. I think it's one of the most excellent content pieces out there for sim racing, and it really shows how much love and dedication goes into this.
And, you know, the small little content pieces is kind of, I feel like, what drove a lot of these drivers to come back for another season. There was a lot of talks of a lot of frustration building up of how their seasons were going, and drivers feeling like, you know what, I want to fight back. I see what this driver's mindset is. I want to beat that. I want to be the better driver than the other competitor, and it's always great to see the behind the scenes for everyone racing as we are closing in to just that of 10 laps to go in this stage. Our stage break at the end of lap 35. We have a total of 90 laps, but that Lariat production stage break right around the corner, and the only drivers that get those points is going to be the top 10 drivers first at our stage break at 10 points, and then it drops by 1 each position down until you get to 10th place, where they only get 1 bonus point. But Zach, we saw during the playoffs that last season, a lot of those playoff rounds were actually cutoffs, and they were ties at the end of those cutoff, spots. So drivers have to make sure they are in the right position and make sure that they can at least go for an opportunity to have the most points at the end of the day so they can make the playoffs or make it to the next round.
Yeah, every point matters. It doesn't matter if it's leading a lap, doing what you got to do out there to get the stage point to make the difference. That could be the reason why you move on in the playoffs or get into those playoffs. So these drivers know that. I'm sure they've seen that throughout the time they've been here. But if you're a viewer out there for the first time watching tonight, you're going to learn how close the competition is. Like I said earlier, it's just really fantastic to watch on a weekly basis here on Monday nights. So make sure you keep coming back and tuning in here with us and enjoy the ride of season number 4, because I'm telling you, it's just beginning here tonight. I mean, each season's had its own twists and turns, so I think it can only get better and better as the seasons start to formulate, and especially with so many new drivers. I think this is the biggest rookie class they've definitely had so far, other than their first season where everybody was rookies. But this is going to add some new spice to it, some new personalities, and maybe some new names to that winners list.
And some of those new names are on the move. One of the biggest movers so far, up 21 positions, make it 22 in 14th spot. It's Matt Upbrook in the number 15 machine, up 22 positions, and he's trying to tag along with some other drivers that have been on the move. That of John Forbes up 12 positions. Also, that of Mark Morales up 13. A lot of drivers recognizing this is go time. And we're also seeing what once was just our top 6 to 8 drivers staying side by side. It is now our whole entire top 16 drivers side by side, trying to get mixy with one another. And a driver we haven't seen in a while in 16th position, it's that number 20 machine of Jesse Thornock. It's great to see that 20 machine back out there on track.
Yeah, great to see that name for sure, Sam. Even when I was going through the grid, I was like, oh man, Jesse's back out there. So yeah, it's great to see old names like that coming back here for this new season. And you guys started off right. That's the way to do it. And Jesse's done a great job of moving his way up here into this outside line. And I think that's been kind of for the taking. This outside line has been very, very strong, and it's been able to make drivers actually get a lot of momentum build up, because I think a lot of drivers right now are waiting on that bottom, just waiting for this all to really start getting a little bit aggressive as we get closer to that lap 35 stage break. So that's when I think fireworks will start to fly, but we'll have to see, because now finally Mark Whitley and Jonathan Smith up front, they've elected to jump down and lead the bottom line.
They drop down to lead the bottom line, and it gives an opportunity. Our first rookie leading a lap this season, it's Zachary Peterson in the 96. And who would have thought? It's the 19 of Tyler Dangler going to be leading the way, giving him the push. Now leading the inside line from last all the way up to first place is Tyler.
What a big move made by him there. He pushes the 96 out to the lead, gets clear of that inside lane, elects to go low. Now has the 77 of Mark Whitley behind that's going to give him the shove along with Jonathan Smith there. But that inside lane does have a huge hole and huge gap back to that truck on the inside, which is Ali Fonseca, that 4th truck in the line there on the bottom. So I'm interested to see if something happens there. But other kind of driver who's made a lot of moves so far is GT Arizari here in this 14. He's now pushing Peterson, and they have a huge head of steam coming to the line. Can Tyler Dingler lead a lap though?
And it looks to be yes, by just the nose. It's the 19. He'll get that bonus point for himself. And looking at past seasons, it has grown on the amount of leaders that have been able to lead here at Daytona. Season 1, we had 8 different leaders. Season 2, we had 12 different leaders. Last season for Season 3, 18 different leaders. Here tonight, in just the first 26 laps, I think I can count maybe about 6 different guys that have already led, showing we are going to be seeing a lot of swapping action going on throughout the night, and we're not even done with our stage break yet. We got 10 to go, about to make it 9 to go before our stage break.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who starts making the big moves. Will someone out here get aggressive with their moves and try to, because you can get stuck here. I mean, if the inside and the outside line are dead even side by side like they have been for pretty much the past 5 to 6 laps, you can get stuck back there in about the 5th, 6th truck in that line, and then you can't really go nowhere. And, we'll see, does the opportunity avail itself to go 3 wide? And, are you willing to risk it this early in the race? I know stage points can be critical, but also with no fast repairs to save yourself if something major happens, it can easily end your race by getting a little too aggressive. So you don't want to end it early, but you do want to get those points built up. So we'll see who's the first driver to really take that chance, they say. But, man, I tell you, there's plenty of opportunities there to do it.
Biggest mover still that of Matt Uppbrook, who's in 7th place now, going to be side by side with the 24 of Ollie Fonseca. And Ollie leading the charge of that inside lane that was all that of Larson Line and Blackjack Racing, which that group has almost gotten completely phased out of the top 10. I gotta say, that's probably the biggest shocker for me, is that group that was so in line, looked like they were trying to be a dominant force, have now been completely shoved out of the way and now aren't even true factors. They're gonna have to bounce up to that 3rd lane if they even want a chance right now to go grab and score some major stage points right now, as our top about 6 to 7 really staying strong.
Yeah, this is definitely the time where drivers start to think of those opportunities. They say, well, it's either do or die now if I want to try to gain the track position, but you don't want to do it too early. It's all about timing here at Daytona. If you go out there, try to make the run to the lead here with 5 to go, it can end up backfiring and you can be back in 10th by the time that actually stage break ends. So you gotta time it well, but you also can't wait too long. So it's always that game of playing, will I do it now or will I do it later? So we got to see, like I said earlier, who's going to be willing to make that opportunity last. But from what I've seen, the outside line has been very, very strong. So I think something is going to have to happen up there.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to figure out who's going to bounce it. And really, that 3rd lane, you can go 3 wide. Not the most opportune thing to go after, as it's a lot more of the higher end skill level races where you see 3 wide constantly lap after lap, but 2 wide where you're feeling comfortable. But something we touched on for that first caution that happened back on lap number 2, the fact that these drivers do not have a fast repair. If you damage these trucks, you're stuck with that damaged vehicle for the rest of the night. You can come into pit road, get some minor damages fixed up, but Zach, that could be another factor on why we're starting to see everyone settle down, as we've got ourselves 6 laps to go before our stage break.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys aren't willing to risk it. That's for sure. I mean, this place is interesting. We have seen damaged trucks win before and do well. But when you get damage on a truck, it can be very detrimental because it's going to be tough to lead a line, as they would say, because that truck is the truck breaking the air. If that truck has damage on it, it's going to have more drag on it. So, and when you get drag, that just takes mile per hour away. It's pretty much like putting a parachute out in the air and pulling yourself back. So it's tough when you get damaged. So I think some drivers are saying, you know what, I'm not going to play for stage points tonight. I'm just going to wait back here and hopefully let the squirrels go out there and play.
And just another reminder, that driver that's 3rd truck on the outside, that is Stephen Baldwin, who's 4 Red Bull machine. It's supposed to be the 18. It is the 18 on our ticker, but the 4 on screen. 5 laps to go. Zachary Peterson leading the way with GT Rosario on his back bumper. Then you've got that of Baldwin on the outer groove. Inside top 3, gonna be Tyler Dangler, Mark Whitley, and that of Jonathan Smith. Setting up as we have ourselves 5 laps, about to be 4 to go. Top 10 drivers get stage bonus points, but who is willing to make the big moves? Mark Morales going to be settling right behind Ollie Fonseca, but that outside lane, I'm seeing Justin Smith. I got a feeling we got to watch out for Justin Smith, Nick Crawford, that outside line. I want to not be surprised if someone decides to bounce it 3 wide, make sure that they can maximize those points.
Yeah, I think at any moment now that's going to happen. I think somebody's going to do it. Oh, they were looking to it there on on the front straightaway here, heading down to 1, almost looked to get to the outside of that 4, who is the 18 of Stephen Baldwin there. So Uppbeat was looking to make something happen in that 15 machine, but interesting decision by Peterson to jump down low. He's been leading that outside line for a while now, ever since Jonathan Smith and Mark Willey jumped down. And from what we've seen, really the outside line has been kind of the dominant line from when it comes from a leading standpoint. You know, the driver that's jumped down low has just slowly drifted back ever since they've done it. So it's kind of tough to, you know, throw yourself down there and put yourself in that position, but he feels like maybe that's where he's most comfortable here, coming to that, you know, stage break.
Oh man, riding on board Justin Smith, this is just, it feels so nerve-wracking on how these drivers are trying to hold on, trying to get as close as they can, but at the same time trying not to run each other over. You can see movements happening as the 6, trying to figure out. It just seems like for Justin Smith here, he wants to force it 3 wide. There's just no space and no one to even give him a toe and can just pull down to the center.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you're saying, Sam. You can see these guys are starting to now drop higher there up on the outside lane, up to that wall. And I think that's a great decision. You're breaking yourself away from that inside lane, stopping that side draft, as people would say, and not pulling you back as much, where you can carry as much momentum as possible down that straightaway. So it's working very well for the outside lane now, as they've gotten 2 trucks clear for the 4. Or sort of the 18, a Baldwin there is the 4 on screen, looks to drop down low, but he looks to stay up high now as they come to that start-finish line with GT Irizarry leading. But at some point here, especially with these guys going that high on the straightaway, they're opening up the door for someone to put it in the middle. So who will do it first? That's going to be the question, because I think you're going to see some risks being taken here in the next 2 laps.
And these drivers are all trying to maximize their speed at this current moment. And a few drivers a little bit lucky on the fact that this stage is coming to an end. It's going to be teammates of Joshua Altus, Matthew Gilliams, as well as Rob Sherwood, all deciding to really back off from the rest of the field. I think they were expecting a big wreck. They're about 44 seconds off our leaders, about just half a corner away from our front pack that are coming to the white flag here as drivers ducking it down low. Can't make him is Mark Whitley. He is not able to make it to the end of the stage.
Yeah, that's a tough break for him there. He led that outside lane for a long time, and he was on the outside, which makes it very, very tough and a farther distance around to save that fuel. And that caution did not help that 77 one bit at all. Hopefully for his sake, though, this is the last lap, and he should be fine when it comes to staying on the lead lap.
Well, now I'm kind of curious. Zachary Peterson also was leading quite a bit here on the outside and on the inside. Is he going to be okay to make it to the end? We are on the white flag of the stage break. We're riding on board with the 96 as we're heading into 3 and 4. Seeing the side-by-side battling that's happening right now. The drivers coming at turn number 4. Top 10 get stage bonus points right now. That cutoff driver is Mark Morales, but he's got Cedric Hunter to his outside. But to win the stage on the outer groove, it's Stephen Baldwin trying to get the nose, and he will, as the yellow flag is about to come out. That's our stage break, and the drivers scatter.
Wow, great finish there for Baldwin in the 18 machine. Just literally just the edge of the nose of that truck, and luckily for him, GT Irizarry looks like he was going to cover off that inside lane. He thought like that was the lane coming forward, and that opened the door for Baldwin.
The official number coming in is 4 thousandths of a second was the difference between that of Stephen Baldwin and GT Irizarry coming across the line, as that of Baldwin will be our stage winner. We'll talk to our stage winner after they get some pit stops, as what a run that this driver got to have. And Zach, I mean, running the wrong scheme, but still, I mean, those Red Bull certainly did give him wings there with the way he was flying up front.
That they really did, Sam. It was impressive to see that run to the line. I mean, as soon as the door opened up, it just seemed like his truck surged forward, and that was a major factor there for getting that lead for himself. But interesting call here. He's got to come to pit road this lap. Didn't save enough fuel, and that right there is going to hurt him, guys. So that's an interesting call here, as they're going to have to go all the way around the lap. And I think a few other guys having to hit pit road also that didn't save enough fuel there during these caution laps and during that run.
And that other driver going to be Zachary Peterson, who has to come into pit road, who I was really concerned about on fuel. And with them coming into pit road, Zach, I believe the only penalty they'll get is an EOL for coming in early on a closed pit stop. I could be wrong on that. We'll see officially what they're given, but both drivers are expected to get a black flag for that early entry.
Yeah, no doubt they will definitely get that. And I think also the 14 Irizarry, I think he's out of fuel. The 14 is slow on the back straightaway right now, coasting, and there's multiple trucks passing him. So that right there tells me he is in a major dire situation. He's wiggling the truck back and forth left and right, and almost made some contact with some of the trucks going by. That right there was close action, as he's going to try to limp his way around right now at 65 mile an hour to pit road.
Yeah, in the middle of the backstretch, he was going 80 miles per hour, and right now trying to just coast his way through. Might be getting some help here, but it looks like nobody coming down to the apron. Everyone's just watching the 14 fall as GT out of gas. He is now at 50 miles per hour, and he's not even close to pit entry. Zach, he might have to take a tow here as the rest of the field enters pit road.
And a tow would be so devastating for him there after finishing second in the stage, fighting for that lead. He's got 40 mile an hour right now.
He's not making it.
Yeah, I don't see it, but looks like he will get some help here. Looks like Baldwin is going to be the driver that helps him.
I was about to say, because if he didn't get any pushing help, the GT was not going to make it. He qualified 9th, meaning that his pit stall is all the way at the very end of pit road. And going to be getting a push by the 4 who came to pit road the lap earlier. So it might have been a little bit of helpfulness. It's always nice when you got a driver that's willing to help you. But now the chaos of pit road, better hope that no one's going to give any more contact to that 14 machine.
Yeah, it's tough. And you also don't want to, if you slide through your box, if you go too far, you have no power to back up, then you'll have to tow anyway. So he's got to be careful about getting into the box. Luckily for his sake, he does. But yeah, luckily he had a little of a guiding hand there to get on the pit road, because that right there could have been devastating to his race.
Could have been torture if he had to do that after a strong run that he had for himself. As other drivers gonna be up front, strong runs by that of Mark Whitley and others gonna be up front, leading the way. Kind of a surprise. Cody Reed in the 25 gonna be leading up front for himself. His driver's under pacing, but a driver that's back out on track who we're gonna be getting their thoughts on how their run went. It's our stage winner. That is Stephen Baldwin. As Stephen, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing tonight?
Well, you're the stage winner, man. You were making some fantastic moves there late. You made the pass just coming to the line. Man, how are you feeling after the stage break?
I don't know if you can see the camera, but I'm shaking right now. It's definitely exhilarating out there.
That it is, Steven, man. What a run to the end there, to be able to just get it by 4,000ths of a second and get that stage win. How is the pushing going out there? I mean, I know a few drivers said it's a little bit sketchy. It can be a little bit tough at sometimes. How does it feel from your side to see?
Both pushing and receiving the push, it's very sketchy. You have to be either really, really easy pushing, or don't do it at all and just get as close as you can, and try to hope that that third and fourth car in line are doing the same thing and get you as aerodynamic as possible.
Well, Steven, we also saw you helping out GT there. Was fuel we saw you have to come in early. How close were you on fuel, or did you just run out when you had to come to pit road?
I was 0.3 to the good, and I was not going to make it around, and I think GT was the same way, and so I had to come in early. It's still a long race to go, so I'm hoping to work back up front and hopefully take it.
Well, it was great sportsmanship to see, and we hope for good luck out there. Congratulations on your stage break win, and good luck on this restart.
Thanks, guys.
As that was your stage winner, going to be Stephen Baldwin. A great run for himself, but Zach, we're about to get ourselves back to racing action. It's going to be that of Mark Whitley, going to be on the inside with that of Justin Smith to the outside. You've also going to have that of Matt Upbrook in third, Nick Crawford fourth, with also Jonathan Smith back in fifth. Ready to get rolling? Pace car is off. It is time for us. Stage breaks are done. We're back to racing for Make Diecast action again. 250 presented by Race Car Graveyard, and it's already seeing the 77 trying to figure out how to get back with his teammate of Jonathan Smith, but there's a car in between them.
Yeah, that truck in between them is going to be a little bit of a factor of Matt Upbrook, so we'll have to see how that works out, because That was the one thing I noticed about more than anything. This stage break right there has separated a lot of teammates. It's been putting the separation in between them. And now, again, the outside surges is, Upbrook, he drops low, and he's going to help out Whitley and them as they're now going to get hooked up. But Jonathan Smith there down low as Nick Crawford and Justin Smith drop down for the lead.
Drop down and now going to be giving an opening for that of Ollie Fonseca, Tyler Dangler, and that of Eric Stamp to try to make their push. As everyone that's inside of our top 12 have all moved up at least one position or more, just showing it doesn't matter where you qualify. You can make some big moves right now, and the driver who's made the biggest is leading the way for the 6.
Yeah, leading the way there for the 6 machine. That's good to see for Justin Smith here. A good way to start off his season to get himself some bonus points. And we saw Upbrook there in the 15. He dropped low and dropped to the back of the pack that we seen kind of earlier where Crowfoot did. And then we had that incident. Well, Upbrook stayed on the inside for so long that now he's 5 seconds behind the pack. That move right there has kind of ruined the start of this run for him. He's got to hope for something to bring him back into it, as such as a caution.
I mean, it makes sense to make that apron move to get out of the way if you're in the middle of the pack. But if you're up front, with the amount of drivers that we have out on track, you kind of have to bounce out to that third lane and drop out that natural way. Otherwise, like we just saw, Upbrook from being in a position of great restarting position in track position, now already 10 seconds off of our leaders and continues to drop. But up front, still great battling to be seen. And the driver that's leading that outside lane, driving a special tribute car. That's Ollie Fonseca in the 24. This car, it's a truck, specially designed. I gotta say, 24 for the surprising passing of Ken Block. This 24 asked for a special scheme. That's what we're seeing right there on our screen right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see, man. Definitely a very sad news for that passing of Ken Block. Was definitely, in the motorsports community, such a valuable asset and just a great father also too. So definitely shout out to the Block family. They're definitely going through a lot right now, and we're all thinking about them. So it's tough, but it's always great to honor those people who inspire you to go out here and do stuff like this. It's those are the reasons why we enjoy racing. It's the people behind it, and it's just great to see people definitely showing tribute to it. So thank you to Ken for sure right there on the back bumper, and we'll definitely remember him for a long, long time.
We'll always remember you, 43, as we're on the 43rd lap, and Ollie hoping to lead it if he can get a good push from that of Tyler Dangler. Dangler's got to be hoping, though, that his internet can hold up because he's been blinking here. A little bit of struggle to hold his line. That's going to be a loss of momentum, and Justin Smith will hold for strong. That inside groove look a little bit different, Zach. I think it could be the strength of drivers on who can hold that line better, just showing the ways that you have to be close to one another and the ways you have to draft with one another to maximize that speed.
You're exactly right, Sam. It can sometimes be just the trucks in that line that makes it stronger and seem like the preferred way to go. So, yeah, if you get a few strong trucks down there, I really feel like they can hook up, push together. And, even Baldwin brought it up in his stage break interview there. It's not even sometimes about the hit or the bump draft necessarily. It's about being close and being efficient with your pushes. So we're seeing that right now for sure on that inside line, but 3 trucks up top right now is down the back straightaway, just like always. That outside line just gets such a good run. And look who's creeping into the picture also, up in the 6th position. That's Eric Stamp, last season's Daytona opener winner.
Last season's opener winner, and hoping to find himself back into victory lane. And another series that we've covered, Thursday night, is the most recent one that comes to mind, where we hadn't have seen someone win at a Daytona race at the start of the season. On Thursday night, that streak got broken with Christopher Wade becoming the first of the Stars and Stripes League to go, win a Daytona race 2 times in multiple seasons. And now, could we see this streak being broken for this league? Because we have not seen a driver win in 2 different season opener races ever. But it could be broken here today, and the drivers are aiming to break that curse. Eric Stamp in 7th place, and the 2 machine of Danny Cochran out of 13th.
Yeah, it always seems like those openers are so tough to win because there's just usually so many drivers involved in it that it kind of makes it more of a mixed up race, where it's throughout the season you lose a few drivers here and there that really kind of change things up. And when it's Daytona or Talladega Super Speedway, it is always anybody's chance. You have opportunities out there. Every driver can get out there and get it done. It's just about how aggressive and how smart you can actually outplay your drivers out there in your competition. So we're seeing some really good movement right now from a lot of drivers. But right now, it looks like that middle of the pack is getting a little bit more formulated. We've seen that outside line, be 6 to 7 trucks, but it looks like we're getting a few more up there as we got about at least 9 of them now up on that outer groove.
And it's going to be the 28 of Matthew Gilliams here who's trying to make that move on the outside lane. He certainly is trying his best as that 28 we see on screen moving along. I want to give an update of drivers that have called it a night. That of Crawford going to be the next driver. Joshua Freed was our first driver to call it a night, being involved with Crawford's incident. The 12 now it's officially called it a night, pulled it into pit road, leaving us with just 34 trucks out there on track, all 34 on the lead lap. But for how long? Because we talked about that Matt Uppbeat having issues. A driver, I don't know what happened. I might have to go back and see. Maybe you can, Zach, but it's Joshua Altis. The 94 is all on his own and currently finds himself about to be going a lap down.
Yeah, that is very awkward for him for sure. I didn't get to see. It looks like he just never got caught up to the pack from what I'm looking at. So tough break for him. He was long on pit road and just never could get caught up, and that has put himself all by himself back here in no man's land. And I mean, 44 seconds behind this pack, he is going to be quickly caught by the leaders here in the next really the 2 laps here. So he needs to really be focusing about trying to keep that lucky dog position, because also Uppbeat, he's 33 seconds behind the pack, another about 12 seconds up the road from Altis. That right there is going to make a little bit of an awkward battle between those two to keep that first position 1 lap down.
Altis is hoping that he'll become the only driver a lap down, and if a caution comes out, he's not involved. He would not be the driver to worry about, but a driver that is trying to make a little bit of a better switch up for the reputation he's already grabbed. That's Tyler Horn, that's trying to make a good run for himself back out here in 32nd position. Tyler, these drivers had a clash race last week, wasn't streamed, but drivers getting a little bit of a test on what it was like to race with one another. Tyler kind of made a couple of mistakes that made drivers a little bit hesitant to work with the 26, but certainly first race of the season, you can turn heads, really change up your reputation very quickly if you can have a good run. Right now, the 26 says, I don't want to get my hands dirty. I'm staying in the back.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you got to do as a driver. So he's definitely trying to clean that up from his clash race, but we'll see how it works out for the rest of the season for him as we hop up back into the pack. It looks like a few more names coming up into the picture. There's the 38 of Christopher Norris there. He's slowly worked his way forward, now up into that 8th spot on this inside row and trying to move up to the back bumper of Jonathan Smith now.
And Christopher Norris, I was talking with him before the practice started. I was getting a sense is, we'll touch on that in a few seconds because Altis has been caught. Now here comes the big old hope. Everyone is testing their fates. Here comes the courage. The 94 stays low. Everyone has to move up as a group and do not run over the 94. And there's a little bit of shimmying up front, and the wreck begins. The big one strikes. They hold on, but not for long. The yellow, the second one of the night, hits Tanat right now.
Oh man, that's so unfortunate there. I think it all started with Nick Crawford in the 74 getting up into that outside wall, and then from there it kind of just blew up, as they would say. So tough break. The lap car stays low, which has every right to do, and it's the pack's job to get around them, but it's definitely on the side of definitely being a little bit more aggressive, and I think even Altis might have been involved in that one.
A lot of people getting some type of damage, as there's going to be 3 with required damage. That of Jonathan Smith, Michael Sheffield, as well as Jesse Thornick. Those 3 drivers going to have to wait and see where they go. But over the radio, drivers are upset. Nick Crawford, one of those, first over the radio. He's mad on the fact that they went 3 wide for the lead. After passing the lap car, it just seemed like the 6 went too far down. Mark didn't want to work with the 6, and issues arrived from there on the front row. As we take a look here at the instant replay, and you're seeing Altis, and this is going to be the aftermath of people being chain reacted, as you're seeing that 3 wide action bounces up and just nowhere to go for a lot of these drivers, as the 3 wide exit of the corner, not the safest place to be, and the melee begins.
That it really does there, and you can see Altis in a 94, who was that lap down truck. The one thing that's going to be bad for him is all these guys are involved in this incident. He's going to go through the grass up here in the next few moments and get an off track, which is going to take away that lucky dog from him. But there's Nick Crawford with the damage he's got done in that 74 machine. There you see Altis riding through the grass there trying to miss that wreck. But yeah, that all just happened in a split second, and that just shows you at Daytona, just a little ripple in that line can really have a huge wave effect to the rest of the field. And there's a lot of trucks hurt from this, and having to get a lot of repair damage. Is Jesse Thornock. He's got the meatball flag, which means required repairs for him, along with Michael Sheffield.
See how long those drivers are going to be in pit road for themselves. We don't have another replay to show, but certainly we do have a lot of racing still to cover here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, as drivers are going into pit road getting their service done. It's been a crazy race so far. We're past halfway. And you know what? Let's take a little bit of a debrief. We'll take a little bit of a break. We're going to go side by side so you don't miss a thing. But when we come back, more racing coverage of the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series for the first race of Season 4 for the Make Diecast action again. 250 presented by Race Car Graveyard. We will see you in a little bit. Hopefully you've been enjoying the race so far. We'll see you on the other side. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, the first race of the season for Season 4. And you're getting all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, Run Warrior Junior Radio Productions in the background. You haven't missed a thing. We're back to Green Flag Racing, coming up to that of lap 56. And it's GT Irizarry who's been very aggressive so far, as well as John Forbes side by side, leading the way, heading across the line.
Yeah, this was a big movement happening, man. They went 3 wide about the 10th row back, and GT stuck it in the middle, and that's allowed him to lead this line up here. And he's got a newcomer on his back bumper. That's the 17 of Barrick Uphold. First time we've seen him up here in the mix all night long, and this will be an interesting time to see how he works with GT Irizarry in this 14, as they've been able to lead this outside line with a huge run down this back straightaway.
And as well, with that, Cody Reed is trying to make that inside line work with his teammate. But man, Barrick Uphold a massive push on that outside lane, still pushing out as far as he can go. But he's got to be careful for himself. That's the drivers up front racing as hard as they can. But man, let's take a look at some of the drivers on how their perspectives are, as we've got our live wall of drivers. We got Cedric Hunter, Logan Breaking, Christopher Norris, as well as others out there. Plenty of drivers we're expecting to see cameras throughout that of the season going through, as that's Kyle Tate in that top right. But man, Zach, it's always great to see the wall of drivers on who's racing out there and the way that they're trying to stay calm, as well as the different ways that they're racing.
Yeah, it's always the coolest perspective to get to see the drivers, face and really how they're holding the wheel, everything about it, because each driver does different things, in my opinion. And the one thing you'll see from all of them, except for Cedric Hunter and Christopher Norris, because they got the VR headset on, but I can trust me that they definitely have a lot of focus right now with both those on their face, is the eyes. They are so focused on their screens right now, trying to make sure they stay right in line and don't deviate off their line to really cause a major incident that we just seen before. So it's all about the focus here at Daytona, and even the communication. You get to see Logan Breaky there talking to his Armadillo teammates. So it's one of those things that it's really cool to see these driver cams.
And the majority of these drivers are in the middle of the pack, so they're in the thick of things on how they're running right now. And that was your wall of drivers, as right now it is going to be Barrick Uphold leading the way right now. But Zach, you talked about the VR systems. We're seeing it with 2 different drivers. How is that helping them right now on track?
Well, that's one of the most interesting things you can do in sim racing, in my opinion, is get a VR headset. That right there, as VR stands for virtual reality, that allows those drivers to have that peripheral vision, move left, right, look over to the right, see if they're clear, see if there's a truck right beside them. You don't really get that with the single screen experience of a monitor. Now you can get triple screens to add in that peripheral, but it's a tough, it's tough to pick which one. More Morales, it looks like, in the 91, hard into the wall, and that was a heavy hit for him. It looks like it's going to drop him back a good bit there, Sam.
He is continuing with the drop back, and driver's trying to react because he's blinking now, and I think it might have been a little bit of a connection issue that could have forced him to go slamming into that outside wall. And that looks like some critical damage that he's dealing with. Is not given a required damage flag, but with how far he's off the pace, Zach, and the fact that he's not able to climb up in speed, this does not look good for the 91.
Yeah, that right there is a telltale sign that thing has a lot of damage, and maybe even has got some engine damage. Not only the drag created by the damage on the fenders, but you also can get engine damage where you actually lose power and lose that speed. So that's very possible for him. He might be in a similar boat such as Nick Crawford, who also has a very hurt truck from that last incident. So it's tough when it's like that for yourself out there, but you just kind of got to limp around and make laps until that engine does finally expire. So we'll see, if they can get a caution to work on that even. So it's definitely one of those things. But right now, the 17 of Barrick Uphold leading the way. Some more rookies getting it done.
I mean, it is great to see this rookie class and the way that they're trying to develop. And another driver that's absolutely shocking. We talked about Tyler Dangler, the fact that he went from last place up to the lead to lead some laps. Well, let's talk about a driver that went a lap down and actually was around that first contact and wreck. I mean, that most recent wreck. He's now up here in the top 5. Second car on the outside is Joshua Altus in the 94.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised to see him get that lap back. I'm guessing he must have figured something out there to get that way back, either a wave around or getting the lucky dog without that. But yeah, definitely an interesting job by him there to get himself already back in position here, Sam.
I mean, it's crazy to see, but for these drivers right now, some of them are on a clock. They've got to be careful about fuel because for about 2 of them, that is John Forbes, Cody Reed, they've got to be careful. They have not pitted in the last 23 laps, and if we stay green, they're going to have to come into pit road, and a best product for them to have at this current moment would be that of the digital pit board from iRacing iFlag. iRacing iFlag, a great product that can give you flag indicators on what the flag state is out on track. If there's a yellow flag, if there's a blue flag in front of you to watch out for, if there are plenty of other sequences that you need help with, that of iRacing iFlag have you covered. Go use our promo code FreakyFast2022 today when you purchase from iRacing iFlag, as more lap traffic and another hold your breath moment. Here we go into turn number 3.
Yeah, and here's Nick Crawford. He goes high here holding that lane, and wild moment there. But what you compare with your iRacing iFlag out there, folks, as you see on the screen, that's the admin box. One of the best button boxes out there for sim racing, because not only does it give you the driver functionality that most sim racing button boxes do, but it gives you the options to control a race, black flag people, clear those black flags, add laps, take laps away from there, throw yellows. I mean, it's literally such an essential piece that all admins out there in league should have. So make sure you head on over to adminbox.com with 2 X's there and use that discount code there you see on the screen, FFB/BOXX, to get yourself a discount and get one of the best button boxes in sim racing.
Starting to see a lot more drivers calling it a night so far. Jesse Thornock, that of also we saw Crawford and also Joshua Freed call it a night for themselves, but if they're calling it a night, that means that their racing suits are off, which means that these drivers, guess what? I mean, if you're going to be taking off your race suit, might as well be repping some merch. You're not going to be repping your own race team, might as well rep one of the best broadcasting teams out there, and that's the Freaky Fast Broadcasting merch line that we have. We got t-shirts, hoodies, any size color you're looking for, we've got it for you. Go check it out today as the drivers are roaring around this course. And Zach, in a blink of an eye, we're already 64 laps in. We're almost to the point of 25 laps to go, and that's when the pressure starts to ramp up even more.
Yeah, that's when the pressure cooker really starts to boil over, man, and gets ready to, as they would say, pop, because, man, that is a time where drivers start to get a little bit desperate. And, it's not always up front where the desperation comes, because these drivers feel like, I'm in a good position here to ride till the right timing. But the desperation starts to come from drivers farther back, knowing I am not in the right position. I need to start moving myself forward. So you're going to start seeing some of those desperate moves start to happen out here in the field, and it's going to definitely give us a little bit of a shakeup, I believe.
And I got to say, desperation is something that we're also trying to help out for, and that's in the real world. Take it out of the virtual side of things. We're trying to help with a great cause. We did it last year for our 6 hours Daytona, where we're switching it up, not doing endurance racing. We know oval racing, and we're doing it this year. Zach, it's the Daytona 500, and what a year it is going to be in February.
That it will be, Sam. I'll tell you what, February 11th, mark it down on your dates right now at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be broadcasting 500 miles, like Sam said, here at the Daytona International Speedway with the Next Gen Cup Series cars as they all come to pit road here. But we'll be doing that. If you're interested in that, you can check out here in our chat. You got the link there to our Discord. If you want to join that, you'll be able to get yourself in the race with a $5 minimum donation. And remember, that's a minimum, not... You can do much more than that. It's whatever you feel your heart desires to give back to juvenile type 1 diabetes, because, man, that's such a great cause out there, and we cannot wait to see how much money we can raise. We're already above 300. Can we hit 1,000? I think that's going to be very, very possible for us here, as we're going to try to bring as much awareness out there to all the people.
Cannot believe it. We haven't even started promoting it. Today's technically our first real day of promoting it. We're already over 300. We cannot wait for everyone else to be involved to help out with the cause of driving today. See these drivers racing out there. I'm getting tongue twisted because it's getting chaotic. We've already had one group come to pit road. We just had a second one, and drivers have missed pit road for some. And Zach, this is chaotic because a lot of these drivers, they're pitting way sooner than I was expecting them to do so.
Yeah, I'm kind of even questioning it a little bit to say. I know some people, they like to pit as soon as they can make it. Run it like a road course, as you would say such, and get out there. So if the caution does come out, you cycle around to the lead while everybody else hits pit road. But it is very interesting because, oh man, we're making big moves now. Was the it looks like the one of the armadillo trucks going up through. It might be Eric Stamping the 53 as he goes forward, and they're trying to make big stuff happen. But it's just a tough situation because, you know, if we do have an overtime, those guys are going to be in a tough spot when it comes to fuel. But I think everybody here electing to come down and definitely hitting pit road a lot earlier than I was also expecting, Sam.
Yeah, and that was Trenton Jump that you saw with Eric Stamp trying to close in and help with his teammate. The fact is Trenton Jump's trying to stay on the lead lap. That is what he is doing on the inside, the 46. He is bouncing from lead lap to a lap down. And right now, a lot of different drivers have already come into pit road. Now we got 7 still needing to come into pit road. And over the radio, it's go time potentially for everyone in this top group as Altus comes over the radio. But I don't know if anyone else is joining Altus. There's been no other communication of coming into pit road this time. And if you come down to pit road by yourself, that is a worst case scenario.
Oh, most definitely. It will really ruin your race at that point. You're going to be left all out to drive for at least one lap while you go around 2.5 miles. And you can see here, every single person except for one, it's the 74 Nick Crawford. He was 1 lap down there. He's going to stay out, but the rest of the field comes in, and it's just kind of like no man's land out there if you don't hit pit road with the rest of the field. And unfortunately for Nick Crawford, I think he's maybe hoping to try to catch some type of caution or such, because he's going to have to hope that when he comes to pit road finally, he cycles back around at least to the pack so he doesn't go 2 laps down.
And I'm looking at drivers do not want to make issues into pit road, because if we do not have a yellow, this is your money stop. Cannot get any black flags, and it looks like for that of the 98, Malik does get caught with that of a penalty, as Zachary Peterson still in pit road with required damage for that of the 96, as back it on track. It's going to be seeing a couple of these drivers trying to survive, but one of the drivers that was involved with this last group to hit pit road is Logan Brakey, and let's get a sense of what it's like to merge back on track as the rest of the field comes surging on by.
Yeah, everybody's surging by like you said there, Sam, and now they're going to have to try to get up to speed the quickest possible because they have lost a good bit of time. We'll see as he starts to go now into 4th gear, get that truck finally up into high gear and hope that he can, you know, really get this truck in position. So we'll see here from the eyes how much focus, how much communication is going down to try to catch back up. But I think they should be good. It looks like they have latched onto the end of this pack. So luckily for their sake, they have held on.
You know, we also talked about the fact that, you know, we've here at Freaking Fast Broadcasting, some of the rookies that have joined in, we've covered in other leagues, but some of these drivers have raced with one another in other leagues, and that's what we're seeing right now. Logan Brakey working with Joshua Altus. These drivers have ran with one another years before, broke away from one another from racing in leagues, and at ISRC Truck Series, it's brought them back together.
That it really has. That's so cool to see, you know, like, it just seems like guys are all coming out the woodworks to come here to the ISRC Truck Series and get to race in this fantastic league with just such a fantastic product out on track as we've already seen tonight. It's been great racing, and right now the racing's picking up for the lead as Cedric Hunter has been able to jump to the outside of Mark Whitley in the 77, but Mark Whitley there still holding strong on that bottom lane. He's got the 16 of Joshua Kanata, who's a newcomer here to the league. Could he be one of the ones that makes something happen here late in this race?
Kanata right now going to be on the inside lane, trying his best to survive where he's at right now, and he has been doing a great job at this moment just to stay on the inside lane. And that's one of the things where drivers talk about the different lanes that they feel comfortable being. Some prefer to be on the outside, always fighting for every position possible. Others like that slow, passive approach on the inside. It looks like for Kanata, it's been the inside where he is. I feel like every time I look at the 16, he's staying stable on the inside and just letting the race come to him.
Yeah, I think that was a smart decision too by him. You know, play it by ear, just get out there and make sure you're in the right spot when it comes down to the end of this race. But I am starting to see a few guys formulating a little bit of a teammate work here. As like you said, Blackjack Racing and Larson Line, they've kind of formed an alliance here coming tonight. You got Ethan Smith in that 00. He's the 3rd car on the outside lane. He's got Danny Cochran. Then he'll have Dakota Moniz. Then he'll have John Forbes right behind him. So that is 4 teammates lined up. If something starts to happen, I think it happens from there.
And, you know, other drivers are trying to get with one another. You know, you've got the 13 of Cedric Hunter as well as the 38 of Christopher Norris. They are put in 2 different lanes. The 13 on the top, leading the top end. The 38, 3rd truck on the inside. He's trying to find at least some way to be with teammates, but all the different alliances. Who can you trust here late? It's less than 20 laps to go. And right now, attached to this lead pack are going to be the top about that of 20 drivers, all still connected in some fashion, which, Zach, everyone in the top 20 still has a chance to win here tonight.
Oh, yeah. It's any man's game right now in that top 20 as they're all in this pack. And one big wreck. We've seen it already tonight. One big wreck, and half this pack can be in a major dire situation. So just because you're in this situation doesn't mean you're not going to get knocked out of it. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But some very good comebacks from a few guys like we were talking about before. Josh Altis is surprising to see him here in the 6th position after losing that pack at one point in this race. And, kind of being around the center of like a lot of mayhem there, holding that bottom lane when they came by to lap him. So it's good rebound, and we'll see how it all works out for him. But right now, GT Irizarry jumps to the outside line. As soon as he did, it looks like they hit the go button.
It is time to fire off like a cannon at this time and try to make some moves. Josh Altis trying to force it 3 wide. If he can find his nose to get underneath the 6, he might be able to make a surge. But that outside lane, a lot of bumping going on as that Justin Smith almost caused the big one there.
Yeah, that was a moment, they would say, and I think a lot of guys are breathing a sigh of relief that worked out in their favor. And GT, look, he takes no prisoners. He got the push 2 to lead from the 13. Now the 14 jumps down to the bottom lane in front of Mark Whitley to lead that inside line. But here comes the 13 again with another run as we're getting an on-board shot from Joshua Altis, getting to see how this outside lane's working. But GT now trying to jump back up almost in front of this. It almost got really dicey there as he almost got stuck in the middle.
Trying to control both lanes, and when it almost backfires, it's going to be the 13 Cedric Hunter back to the lead point on that outside through, and going to need a massive push as GT Irizarry riding on board with Mark Whitley, trying to give the bump. Here it is, and GT, will he slide up? Looks like he'll hold for now, not able to fully clear the 13 machine, will now really bounce out to the top end or really hold steady. Looks like he'll hold steady, recognizing Mark Whitley's been probably one of the best pushers that you could ask for up front. There's no one else really as steady of giving a bump like the 77. So for GT, it might be the better option to stay where he's at right now.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 good choices right now on the outside and the bottom lane. He's got Cedric Hunter and Mark Whitley, 2 very strong veterans. Now GT jumps up in front of that 13, and the 13 hits right square on the bumper. Luckily for him, he does do a good job of hitting that square, and it doesn't really cause too many issues. But that is a risky situation to be doing there if you're GT. I know you want to control both lanes, but if that wrong person is, say, getting a push from behind, they can't stop running you over, then it can really end up being bad. But right now, the outside line, look at it, just training this inside lane is they've got major runs. Now look at this, Cedric Hunter, big move to the inside there, to the inside GT Irizarry. He's going to hook up with Mark Whitley.
And we just talked about how both lanes were strong and you're going to have somebody to work with. Well, Altis makes a giant move to the inside, saw his opportunity, did not hesitate, and now you've got 3 very strong super speedway drivers in line on the inside, and that outer groove, more drivers trickle away, and the more opportunities for Ethan Smith and Danny Cochran now to be leading that outside group.
Yeah, I think they're sitting there licking their chops, knowing, saying, hey, if these guys keep dropping low and they give us a shot to lead this line, we know we have 4 trucks that will work together, won't leave each other out to dry. That is confidence. And when you have confidence at a place like Daytona, you can do big things. And now look at Cedric Hunter. He likes to go back to the outside, and big push from GT. That almost wrecked him. Cedric Hunter with the save of the night almost there.
And the giant just relief hoof came over the radio from Cedric Hunter as he thought that was going to be the night done, the big one. And watch out, here comes Ollie Fonseca. Will he go down the apron? He will. But it made drivers have to shuffle down and move up, almost causing an incident entering the tri-oval as you see the 24 just limping his way on the apron. But up front, Mark Whitley, Altis, and oh boy, Zach, we are now seeing these laps tick away. We're now closing in to close to 10 to go, and we're starting to see some of the big movers that want to be up front, but certainly the aggression now starting to ramp up on the defensive moves, which there was a lot of give earlier in the race. All the give is now being thrown away.
Yeah, it's all take now. There is no give out there. We're seeing lane switching. Like, guys are turning blinkers on every left and right corner. So it is one of those situations where you're just going for any opportunity, any hole that's open to you here this late in the race, knowing you're trying to get yourself forward and in an opportune spot to get up here for the lead. And that's when the wrecks lurk right around the corner. That's when, when everybody puts that helmet on and says, we're just going to go for it now. That's when stuff starts to really happen, as people start to push the issue, start to take more, give less. And we're going to see that here in these final 10.
The one driver, I don't know why, I just have the sensation to watch out for the driver in the orange and white. Doesn't have the number on the side panels, but that's the number 4 of Jordan Schmitz. I've got to say, I just got an irking feeling this 4 could be someone to watch out for. He's got Dakota Moniz, who's a strong super speedway driver. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he could find himself sneaking out of an accident as it's about to build up. He's seen some 3 wide action in front of him because John Forbes is forcing the issue now.
Yeah, he is forcing the issue. That is the best way to put it. And right now, Justin Smith not given the most room on the outside. He needs to get a little bit higher if they want to keep this straight, because this right here is starting to get a little bit mixy, guys, and this could turn into the wreck that we were just speaking of. But Justin Smith now left out to dry hard on the door of that 11 machine.
And they've got to be careful because they're starting to catch up to ultra lap track drivers that are on the track. Will they jump down to the apron, or will they stay on course? Because we're 3 wide and you've got lap traffic. That is a key real mixture of a contact and wreck about to brew up. And here we go. Still going to be 2 wide, 3 wide. Drivers on the apron, and they'll stay out of the way. And as it's going to be still that Justin Smith stuck on the outside, and he is trying everything, practically door banging his way to hold back that of John Forbes.
Yeah, that right there was getting close, and these guys were making some interesting calls here for the most part, as there's another car going a lap down, dropping back through the field as they go soaring past them into turn 1. But Whitley and Altice have done a great job to keep their momentum up. That move by Forbes really slowed that middle line up, because there was kind of some separation between the top 2 and then the third truck on back. But now they've got it all formulated again, as Justin Smith has been able to fall in line behind John Forbes, and the runs are formulating.
And John Forbes, a driver that has found his way to victory lane. He did it back in season 2. Will he be able to find himself breaking the curse and becoming the first Daytona 2-time winner? Or could it be that of Danny Cochran, who's also in this lead group, hoping for some magic, and lingering all the way in the back of this lead pack is where Eric Stamp is. All 3 previous winners are still in the lead pack, still with the chance. 9 laps to go here tonight to start off season 4 for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. And it's still Mark Whitley, Cedric Hunter, the 2 drivers that qualified inside of the top 5, leading the way up front. It's going to be that of Mark Whitley on the inside, Cedric Hunter on the top. Who will force it 3 wide to potentially try to go for the lead?
I think you got to circle that 11 machine. He has been looking to the middle lane on that 14 constantly down the back straight. John Forbes has looked like he's made that move, and if he does it, it's going to be a major risk for sure, because we've seen already how close it gets when it gets 3 wide here at Daytona. There's really, I'd say, really only 3.5 to 4 lanes of racing opportunity. When you get 3 wide, there's no room for any mistakes. You got to keep a solid line and be able to hold your line, because if you wash up into somebody, that is just going to stack the whole field up, and then that's where the fireworks start to happen.
And just past going a lap down, that was a stage break winner. Going to be that of Baldwin, who now falls and just has to watch this lead group blasting their way on by. And here comes the rocket ship on the outer lane. There's some space. Will Forbes try to force it down into the middle? Just not close enough as the 11, but a complete push. Cedric Hunter now drops the inside, and that's going to slow down everybody now.
Yeah, he jumps down to that bottom lane there to get the push from the 77, who had the 94 on his back bumper, who kind of had a big moment there in 3 and 4. That was close action between him and the 6, with him going up the racetrack. But here comes the great push from Mark Whitley to the back of the 13, down the front straightaway into turn 1. Can the 13 hold on to this lead? As we'll see who can manage their temps, because that's one thing. You're coming down to the end of this race. You've got to be able to manage those temperatures on your engine. If you get them too high, you're not going to be able to be as aggressive as you want to coming to the end of this race. And look at Forbes going 3 wide into the middle.
3 wide for the lead, but just no help for himself. Door banging, it's for that of Smith and Altis. Altis gets back out on track, but both drivers aiming for the same spot, and it just didn't work out for either of them, and it's going to hurt Forbes the most, or will it? Here comes the surge from the 6. He's going to try to get a big run from this toe after losing the ground, but Altis, a little bit of gamemanship. Respect. The 6 says, you know what, just take the spot. Let's not fight this one out with 6 to go.
Yeah, you can see the marks on the door from that hit. He luckily hang on to it, and that was so close between those guys, that being the big one. But now they keep it straight. Cedric Hunter still with Mark Whitley on the bottom. John Forbes, though, with the big move to stick it to the middle 3 wide. I thought he was going to be the one, and he did do it. And here comes the big push from the outside on the back straightaway. They're much more connected.
John Forbes, he was so aggressive, forcing it 3 wide for the past about 5 to 6 laps, and now he'll drop down low, gets a massive shunt by the 13 and holds on for now as the 13 of that Cedric Hunter trying to push the 11 of John Forbes. And for Forbes, he's got to be careful because he's got some drivers that want to get by him. Here comes Hunter on the outside.
Yeah, there goes Cedric Hunter, and also the 6 of Justin Smith drops low. GT Rosari now the 3rd car in the outside lane. Big push from Altice to the 13, wiggles him in the front in that tri-oval. Now heading down the 1, it's going to be the 11 with the advantage with the push from Mark Whitley, who we've seen has just gave great pushes all night from that bottom lane. He is going to be the one trying to control this. Can he jump out at some point? Because right now, when you're that 3rd car or that 2nd car in the inside lane stuck there, it's tough to try to make something happen.
You have 5 drivers that have shown up, that have shown their weight, that they can find themselves in a victory lane at some point at a super speedway track, still in this lead group. John Forbes has done it. Mark Whitley has done it. Danny Cochran, as well as Eric Stamp, all trying to search for a way to get to victory lane. And as well, that 4th truck on the outside, and that of the red and white, the 5, Dakota Moniz, he wants to get a little bit more peace in action of himself back into victory lane. It's been so long since the 5 has been to victory lane, and he's hoping for the magic.
And there goes Cedric Hunter with that run from the outside. He drops down low, but can those teammates form up? We do have the 5 and the 2 there together on that outside lane, the 3rd and the 4th truck on the outside. They also had the blackjack truck of the 00 Ethan Smith. Will they start to make the 3rd lane happen? We haven't seen the outside, the very far outside, be the best way tonight. It's really been that middle line that has been kind of the best, I would say, of the 3 lines available to these guys. But it looks like that outside middle line is deteriorating. GT's left the 94 out to dry of Altice, and now it looks like Smith and GT might jump up top there just to switch back up there, but now Altice in the sucker hole.
He's trying to hold on for now, but it might not be the worst spot to be. It's Dakota actually losing his teammate. Did not want to go with the 5 to that 3rd lane. He gets shuffled out. That is not what you want to see from a teammate. And Danny going with the 94 instead of his teammate, but luckily finds some space to work with. We're riding on board with that of John Forbes, but you look behind, the chaos starting to rumble. 3 to go, and if you're stuck in the back half of the field, this is go time. You cannot wait any longer, and here comes GT, the rest of the field. Full throttle, full send, contact, trying to hold on. It's Christopher Norris wiggling, and somehow loose, holds it for now. Driver spinning behind. Chaos strikes, and it's Logan breaking in the 29.
Oh, man, that could have been so much worse for everybody, but behind him is where the checkups were coming, and it just ends up Logan breaking the 29, being turned around there with that incident there with a major checkup. And I think Michael Sheffield in the 1 was the kind of innocent bystander running into him. I mean, you can't really fault Sheffield, and then even the teammate of the 46 of Trenton Jump kind of minding his own business, running his race, and he gets taken out in this also. So wild stuff here, but it's just going to re-rack us back up as we get to see this instant replay of this checkup.
And you see down on the inside, that's the white machine of Christopher Norris. He's going to bobble, and this is where everyone starts to check up aggressively. Not sure if there's going to be a wreck. And the 29 runs into his teammate, which then gets the 1 who spins out Logan. And it's Trent Jump just trying to run the outside lane, nowhere to go, runs into his teammate. And these 3 drivers bringing out the yellow. It was 3 to go. We were coming to the 2 to go marker. And Zach, with the timing of this wreck, we are heading to our first overtime attempt of 3.
That we are, Sam. This is the time for these drivers to shine, as they would say. It's really tough because you really only have 2 laps to get stuff done, and really that first lap is kind of an up to speed lap. It's kind of hard to make things happen, but I mean, you want to be in position, but at the same time, if you're Cedric Hunter, the leader, you probably kind of feel like a sitting duck on these restarts. This is going to be a tough situation for him, but he's going to have some hungry drivers behind them that are going to make that situation more tough as that green flag does finally drop.
I mean, this is just going to be a lot of drivers trying to settle in, get themselves prepared on how do you want to attack this race. But as we're under caution, we do have to give a big thanks to some of the sponsors that allows the ISRC Truck Series run at the way that they do. And that is going to be Race Car Graveyard, the title sponsor. If you'd like to go get yourself collecting in Diecasts, we'll head on over to Race Car Graveyard on Instagram and go use the remote promo code RCGY, as that is going to be a 10% discount for yourself on your next purchase, as well as a big thanks to LP24 Clothing, as LP24 Clothing on Instagram. You can go follow them. They've got plenty of different things to purchase: hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and beanies in all different colors and sizes for you to get, as well as the stage break sponsor, the Laugh Lap. The Laugh Lap, take a laugh around the track. They've got NASCAR memes, relatable memes, and they are posting multiple times a day. Thank you so much to all those sponsors, as well to Morecast, Color Teal Graphics, as well as 213 Simware and Ryrad. As the drivers are getting set and ready to go, Zach, fourth caution. But here's what the trends have been the last 3 times these drivers have been here. We have had a total of either 7 or 6. The last 2 races they've been here at Daytona, they've had 6 cautions. And we've got ourselves 3 attempts at overtime, meaning if we get a caution every single time, besides that last restart, we'll hit the number 6.
Oh, the numbers are coming out, man, for sure, because, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past these guys. It's going to get very wild. When you're getting those up the speed laps here as the lights go out in the pace car, and they'll be going green back next time around for the first attempt here at this green white checker. When you have that up the speed lap, there is either a bunch of opportunities available to you because you've gotten up the speed quicker and had the better momentum and start, or you have a bunch of opportunities not available to you because you just didn't get that start, and it kind of takes about a full lap before you start getting those opportunities again. So we're going to need to see that from these guys, that you have to get a good momentum start here. If you have to check up right off the start, you are going to be in big, big trouble when it comes to time. But if that yellow flag does fly one more time before we get that white flag, we will have another attempt and possibly another after that here, as they have 3 green white checkers available to them here for overtime. So the opportunities are there for more overtime. But if we do get that white flag, this race becomes official, and they race back no matter the condition. It doesn't matter if they're wrecking, coming off a 2, going into 1, anywhere. And I tell you, a lot of times that's how these Daytona races play. They get to the white flag, and then everything breaks loose.
I know for a lot of these drivers, they're hoping for some type of miracle to happen for themselves to get back into victory lane. And for some of these drivers, they've never been to victory lane. You think of, Justin Smith. He's been here for a long time in this series, the last couple of seasons, and he's trying to find himself going to victory lane. He hasn't been able to get there. Then you've got rookies that are all in the fray looking for their chance. You got the 16 of Joshua Kaneda, as well as you've got that of Joshua Altus, all in the top 10, all searching for some type of miracle. And you've also got other drivers we haven't talked about that often that are still in the mix. But it's time to see overtime attempt number 1. They're into the restart zone. We're green for Make Diecast action again. 250 presented by Race Car Graveyard. And it's going to be Cedric Hunter, Mark Whitley, John Forbes. And Forbes is losing any type of help. But here they come on the outside. The help that he wants to see almost directly behind him. It's the 2 of Danny Cochran. But it's the dominance on the inside lane. Here comes Mark. He might have to make a pass on the outside.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a prime opportunity to jump high, and there he goes. He does finally do it now to the outside of the 13 of Cedric Hunter, and he's going to have the giant run with that outside lane coming with a good head of steam, and immediately he elects to jump back down low to have Cedric Hunter's help here coming through 3 and 4.
I just don't like that call. I think he should have stayed to the outside lane, but right now he is punching and boxing in the 13. Cedric Hunter hoping to get a little bit of a run out of turn number 4, hoping to see the white flag, and we will. It's the Lariat Productions white flag, as it's going to be Mark Whitley. Cedric Hunter tries to get to the inside. He gets a little bit of a bobble, not the run that he needs, but here comes John Forbes. He needs a massive push from the rookie. He's not getting it. Zach through that exit turn 2. It looks like it's all Mark.
And here's the opportunity, but it's not going to be there. John Forbes on the outside quarter panel of the 13. Now the 13 is pretty much stuck, pushing the 77 all the way down the back straightaway. Unless he can clear him here down in the 3 and 4, this will be his only opportunity as the bumps are coming wide as the wrecking. Now going to see what happens here as 3 and 4.
And Cedric Hunter going to be coming up, hoping for a big bump. He gets a wiggly, not the bump that he needs. He drops it down low, below that of the 77. It's going to be John Forbes below the yellow line. We're 3 wide, coming to the line. It's going to be Cedric Hunter, John Forbes, 4 wide. Forbes, but he went under the yellow. I don't think it's going to count.
Yeah, that's an interesting call. I know it's legal on iRacing. Is it legal in the league? That is the question. I know certain leagues go by the iRacing rules of, you can go down there and make that attempt, but I mean, he did it, so he's technically won this race, but we'll have to get official confirmation as Cedric Hunter comes up second, Mark Whitley third, and Joshua Kanata coming home fourth with a 4 wide finish. What an amazing race.
I mean, Kanata really certainly did try his best to steal that one away. Cedric Hunter held his line. Mark Whitley was bouncing around. John Forbes went the shortest route, went below the double yellow. And we're going to have to wait for confirmation. But for right now, John Forbes over the ticker will have the win unofficially. But we'll have to talk to admin, see what the clarification's going to be, because John Forbes, he's going to have fun burning it down, but will he officially be the one that gets the crown at the end of the day? We'll find out as the John Forbes in the 11 gets to burn it down. We're talking to our top 2 and someone new in just a few. Stick with us. It's the post-race show on the other side. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to that of the post-race show on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. And we've got ourselves our top two and a special guest. And we're going to start things off with our winner here tonight. We got that of John Forbes with us. John, congratulations on winning here tonight. You are the first driver to win 2 openers in this series. Congratulations on that, and as well on the win here tonight.
Oh, thank you guys. That was a hell of a race. I'm going back and looking at the finish right now. I had no idea we were 4 wide. That was awesome. It was a super clean race. I thought there was gonna be a lot more wrecks. So, yeah, that was awesome.
Well, John, I tell you what, man, you were the one to make things happen. I mean, it was wild to see. You did a lot of moves there late in this race with about 20 to go to get to the middle there, make it 3 wide, and then the big move off of 4. I mean, take us through that because those were big, risky moves, but you made them work.
Yeah, in the team group chat, I know like Ethan, he got put out in the middle and he got put onto the bottom, and they were just stuck. So I was like, okay, I can't sit here and just let myself push someone to the win here. So I had to put some people 3. I had to do some things that was pretty risky, but they worked out, and I knew I wasn't going to win if I wasn't taking moves like that. And going back to the last lap, I'm surprised we all made it. Like, I thought we were wrecked 3 or 4 times in that last lap, and going back and watching that was super cool.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that last lap, we know that in most leagues there is a yellow line rule. It's just a gentleman's agreement. In this series, was there always a thought of, if I'm in that opportunity, I'm going below the WO line?
Yeah, I know we always talk about it before the races, and it's always like hey, you can go down there, but as long as you don't cause a wreck. So I didn't know if it was going to stand or not, but I figured that's always been the rule with us, and everyone started congratulating me, so I figured it was all good to use it there, and I didn't cause anything, so no harm, no foul there.
That is true. Well, John, it worked out. You're the winner. Congratulations on that. And now the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Oh, thank you guys. I want to always thank you guys for hosting these. They're always great to go back and watch, and you guys always do a great job. I want to thank all my friends and family watching. Now it's time to go celebrate.
That is going to be your Daytona winner for the second time in his career, taking this trophy away, and now going to be tied for the second most wins in series. It's John Forbes in the 11. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
As we go from that of first place, we head to that of second, where the driver that did everything in the rule book, did everything the gentleman's agreement, but comes away second. Cedric, talking to you before this race, I don't think this is where you thought you were going to be, but man, how are you feeling with that run?
I guess a bunch of mixed emotions. I mean, I'm super happy because, like you said, I fully expected to finish this race on a tow truck, maybe about halfway through the race. So I'm happy to get a good finish. We were so close to the win, man. We had a run coming off of 4, and even though I know that people were allowed to go below the line, I think coming out of 4, I should have expected it, and I didn't defend it. And then, well, while he was there, it was too late. I really couldn't do anything, and I kind of just knew I was going to lose that one. So, good job to John. He did what he was allowed to do in this league, so he capitalized on that. So, congrats to him. Great race for all the guys that were up front. I think for the most part, it was the same handful of guys the last 30 or so laps that we were all racing each other, and it was crazy. It got we had a couple scares where I thought I was gonna get wrecked, and it was hectic, man. The fact that we finished 4 wide, though, good job to the other 3.
I'm bringing it home second there. I'm sure you thought you might have had it there, but that bottom move there by Forbes was definitely a very, very strong move by him there to get to that inside. But yeah, man, take us through it there, because that ending was so wild that, like, picking the right lane, I feel like, was so important tonight, because it seemed like that middle and the bottom, they were so good. If you could just time it to get to the outside, you could get that lead, then you try to get back down low.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the inside was obviously the best lane to defend, and the top would get the occasional run where you'd be able to clear, which is kind of why, like, you had, uh, pretty much 3 or 4 of us that just kind of rotated to the lead, back and forth throughout the last 20 or so laps. So I felt like we had all a pretty good understanding of what we had to do, and then once we got to the white flag, I mean, it was game on. I think at that point I was in second or third. Going into that lap, and then on the backstretch we got pushed kind of awkwardly. That made us wiggle, and I think it caused a wreck behind us, and and then from at that point, I was trying to defend John. Went to the outside, blocked his run. He gave me a good shot, and I was able to cross Mark over and go to the inside. And again, I didn't defend that line. I completely spaced because I'm just so used to not having to worry about guys going below the yellow that it didn't cross my mind at the moment. And I cost myself one, but it is what it is. It's only race one, so we'll have plenty of opportunities throughout the season.
Yeah, and talking about the season, Cedric, you talked about it in the long run episode. You also talked before this race how you like this schedule. We're coming up to that of Kentucky, Chicagoland, and Watkins Glen. How are you feeling about these next 3 races that are coming up?
Super confident, except for Watkins Glen. I think that I could probably get like a top 5. I think that's where I finished last season, was in 5th or so. So we'll see. I think Chicagoland is going to be a super strong track for me. I could definitely see myself going out there and winning the race. Kentucky, I haven't raced there in forever, so I'm not quite sure what to expect with the trucks. I'm assuming it's the new configuration. If that's the case, it's pretty much going to be flat foot from my assumption. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't have necessarily any expectations going into Kentucky, but I think that we can certainly get a win in the next 3 races and put ourselves up there. My goal this season, since last season I got 4 wins, my goal is to at least match that. And like you said, just based on the schedule, I think I could definitely do that. So hopefully it comes in the next month.
Well, still, congratulations on a strong run here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to you guys, all the Freaky Fast guys, for doing what you guys do. You guys always put on a great show. I look forward to going back and rewatching the broadcast and rewatching that ending. Again, nice job to the other guys, Mark and John, and I'm forgetting the 16's name, but nice job to the 16. I know there's a 6 up there too that was in contention, and then a bunch of other guys. So congrats good job to all of them. Whether they got caught up in a wreck or had a good finish. It was a really good race. I want to thank all my 2 other Snowy Desert Racing teammates, Chris and Nick. They both got caught up in something throughout the race that kind of set the race back. I know Nick finished multiple laps down, but unfortunately that's the way it plays out with restrictor play racing. I thought I was going to be in his position tonight, and luckily I wasn't. And I want to thank all the fans out there that tune in, as well as the admin group and everyone that puts these races together. So really looking forward to the season, and hopefully we can get ourselves a championship at the end of it.
Well, that's going to be the 13 Hello Kitty machine of Cedric Hunter. Cedric, congratulations. As always, have a good one, and we'll see you at Kentucky next week.
I appreciate it, man.
As we go from second place, talked about newcomers. Cedric listed a lot of newcomers. Well, there's another one that's on our list, and he was wondering who was in 4th place. Well, it was this driver in the 16. It's Josh Kaneda, and I got to say, Josh, what a run for yourself. You worked your way all the way through, moving up 14 positions to come away with 14th. But, man, how are you feeling after that performance here tonight?
Not bad for a damaged truck, huh? I can't believe that just happened. That was an incredible race. It's Kanata, by the way.
Yeah, definitely, Josh. I tell you, man, that was a fantastic in there, 4 wide. I mean, take us through that last lap, because everything started to pop off down the back straightaway. Guys were wrecking, and then you had the opportunity there to come back and actually win this thing almost. I mean, that had to be spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw him door slamming, or someone got hooked going into 3, and I just tried to hug it as close to the wall as I could and just hoping it didn't come back up. And I saw those guys go 3-1. I wanted to go to the apron, but I saw, I don't know, I think it was Forbes go down there, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to the wall and hoping for the best, but I couldn't believe it. It's the first time I've run with these guys. That was a ton of fun, honestly.
I mean, it was a pleasure to watch. And Josh, I mean, hey, we know that it's super speedway racing. It's kind of hard to test how your skill level is going to be around these drivers once we get to other tracks that we're heading towards. But man, how was it for an experience level getting to drive around some of these veterans of the series and you trying to test the water here tonight?
I mean, it's great to see what everyone can do. I mean, that was a really fun race, and I'm looking. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the back of Daytona personally, but we'll have to see when we get to some of the more technical courses. You guys know Daytona's a whole other animal.
It absolutely is. Well, Josh, congratulations on 4th place. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone over at Revline for helping out. Ryan, Jordan, and Kyle, you guys know who you are. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I had someone actually swap shifts with me at work so I could run this one. So, Jessica, thank you for that. Thank you guys for putting on such a great broadcast. I loved watching it last season, and I'm going to enjoy watching this one this season. So, just thanks everyone who puts on such a good show, and thanks everyone for watching it.
Thank you, Jessica, again for letting Josh race. That is going to be Josh in the 16th. I'm away with 4th place finish. Congratulations on it, and good luck next week at Kentucky.
Thank you very much.
As we go from our special guest interview, we head to look at the ending results on where the drivers finished out. And a lot of them are drivers that we have seen perform well at super speedways before. And once again, get to see that of John Forbes getting the win. Zach, I mean, John Forbes looking through the loopholes of the rules, and he gets it done.
Yeah, I mean, he did it the way he had to do it. I mean, he saw the door open down there below the yellow line. He went for it, and it paid off big time for sure. So congrats to him on that win. Is like you said, he is now a 2-time Daytona opener winner. So that is something that you normally don't see too many times.
And we also get to see some newcomers cracking into the top 10 as well as the top 5, trying to get those best finishes that they can. Can't wait to see how some of these drivers continue to grow throughout the season as your top 10 with John Forbes, Cedric Hunter, Mark Whitley, as well as going to be seeing that of Josh in 16 in 4th place, as well as GT in 5th. Noah Steele's going to take 6th. 7th goes to Cody in the 25. With Stephen Baldwin, our stage break winner, he'll come away with 8 for the 18. With John McAdams in 9th, and finishing out our top 10, it's going to be the 4 of that of Jordan Schmitz in that of the 4 machine. As you look at the rest of the field, I mean, Zach, a lot of drivers that we thought maybe could have been up there, Daytona struck them, and they got wherever they lied.
Yeah, I mean, Cedric Hunter couldn't have said it better. I mean, it's, he thought he'd end up on a tow truck. So that's the kind of things you think about when you come to Daytona. In all these opportunities are available to you. And some guys, unfortunately, did end up on that tow truck and had early ends to their night. But, their chances are still available to them around the corner. They got some good races coming up, like Kentucky next week, and they get to see and kind of judge where they're going to be when it comes to that 1.5 mile package that these trucks have. So it's a tough ending for a lot of guys there down the order, but it is easily for them next week on next Monday night to bounce back.
January, certainly a lot of racetracks for this ISRC truck series that are a lot more traditional. But once we get to February, that's when the tracks start to change up. These first 4 tracks, of course, tonight just finished up with Daytona. Then we got Kentucky, Chicagoland, Watkins Glen that the drivers will be going to. And then they change it up with going to Twin Ring Motegi, as well as going to Darlington Auto Club, Port Royal Dirt Track Racing. We go to Fuji to race some road courses. I mean, this season schedule, it's a blast, and that's only the first half of it, and plenty of other great racing to see on Monday night. But for here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the week is not done. It's just the start. We got 3 more races throughout the week to be seen. We got tomorrow night, more Daytona coverage. It's in the trucks. You got to see the clash last week for the Full Send Racing Series. Zach actually gets to be in the truck next week. And then on that of Wednesday, it's the Wicked Racing League. They're going to be actually racing at Talladega for their opener, giving a little bit more space, a little bit more crazy. We'll see how that of the Next Gen Cup cars run at that course. And then the one that I'm excited for the most this week, probably, we're heading to Texas for the ARCA cars, the Stars and Stripes series. It's their run going, and that will finish out this week of coverage. But Zach, tomorrow night, how are you feeling? You get to be running these trucks at this same course, but with a different field.
Well, I tell you, I think I learned a lot tonight watching these guys for sure. That's one of the great things I feel like now with me running on Tuesday nights and these guys running trucks on Monday nights. Kind of gives me a little bit of a advantage, I guess you could say, where I get to see and learn things, and you can learn a lot from these guys here at the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. I mean, they're fantastic drivers, so definitely learned a lot. But I tell you one thing I am going to be scared of is those pushes. They look very, very dangerous. So I'm to stay on top of that. But we got definitely a great Rico race. And I got to echo what you said about Texas. That Legacy Texas race at those ARCA cars, that one is going to be one y'all don't want to miss. That track is fantastic, that old style one. I mean, I know some people like the new Texas, but the old one, in my opinion, is the better one. So we'll see how the racing goes with those Gen 4 style cars, too. It's going to be super, super fun to watch.
It is a pleasure for us up at the booth to give you all the coverage, to get to commentate these great races. And for tonight, that's it. That is the ending. John Forbes gets the first win of the week, the first win for Season 4 of the ISRC Truck Series. And Zach, any final thoughts before we call it a night? The floor is yours.
Well, man, I tell you, another excellent end. I tell you, we usually make our top 5, finishes of the month. That one's right there going to be in it. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You don't get too many times 4 wide finishes, and that one was wild for sure. I know Sam's going to have to drink him some water after this race because that was definitely a good call to the end there. So make sure y'all tune back in next Monday night. You're not going to want to miss it as always because these guys always put on a stellar show.
Monday night, we are back here giving you the coverage. It's Kentucky. We'll see how the drivers can tack the 1.5-mile course. And for the rest of the week, we got some more super speedway coverage tomorrow night. It's the Full Send Racing Series. Can't wait to give you the coverage then. But for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, Robert Moyer, and everyone else at the Freaky Fast Broadcasting crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next broadcast.